speaking to you who are busy and also you who just want to help somebody else who might be very busy, but you're just not sure how to help them. Okay, this solution comes in two parts. And first, I want you to know I've been on both sides of this fence, so I come from a place of experience, big time, and learning a lot from other people too. But the solution for being so flippin' busy, you get all these people pulling at you from different directions, circumstances, things that pop up, and it's just always like this. Maybe it's been like this for years, and you're imagining 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the road, you're going to be working just as hard and having not gone any further, or at least not made reasonable progress in reasonable time. So the solution for being so busy, two parts, and most of you are going to be gone after the first part. You'll have clicked off, X'd out of this video. And then the second one, whoever's left, most of you will be gone too. So very few is going to remain past these two parts. So here it goes. Can't wait to see who it's going to be. So the first part is you have to start leveraging your time. If you don't start leveraging your time, or for all of you, learning how to leverage your time so that you can apply it, if there's no leverage, there's no freedom of your time. You'll never take control of your time back because you're always going to be pulled and manipulated in all these different directions. You'll never get your time because there's no leverage. So leverage equals freedom. Leverage equals freedom of your time. Has to be leverage. Point blank, just has to be leverage. Most people who are very busy, they thumb their nose at leverage. They don't even learn about what it is, or they think they know what it is and they don't know anything about what it is. They thumb their nose at it, thumping their ego along with their chest, and they're gone. They drop out, they're off. A lot of people, I guarantee you, have already clicked off of this video because I said leverage. I'm too busy. I don't have time for leverage. You don't have time not to have leverage. It's the antidote, fool. So leverage is the antidote. Leverage. Time leverage. The second part, how do you get leverage? Gosh, you have to have a business that you own that has residual and passive income. And then there goes most of the rest of you. So for those of you that just heard, if you want to create more free time for yourself and take control of your life back, you have to have time leverage and a business to get the leverage that has the residual income so that you got all those things. If you're still around after hearing those two things, then I don't clap lightly. Congratulations for still being here, because most people, I guarantee you, are gone. So I'm going to give you just tremendous value in this video because I have a tremendous amount of respect for you that you can hear those two things and still be here with an open mind, just like a sponge that wants to learn. So having been there, done that myself, both sides of the fence, here's what it is. So if you have a job, and this isn't to put down jobs, by the way, just telling you what it is, the type of income that's associated with a job is zero leverage. You only get paid when you're working. When you're not working, you don't get paid. The benefits and so on, the paid time off and those things that come with it, you're paying for all of that. It's coming out of your paycheck, just so you know. So you stop working, you get fired, you quit your job, whatever, you don't get paid anymore. If you don't have another job lined up, you don't get paid anymore. It's over. All that work that you did, you're never paid on those efforts again. Whatever you made the first month or the first year at your current job, you're only paid on those efforts once. You cannot look back and expect to get a paycheck from those anymore. It's gone. There's zero leverage. So you're on that hamster wheel. That's where the phrase hamster wheel comes from. Working so hard, going absolutely nowhere, just basically keeping up. But when you get off that hamster wheel, it doesn't matter all the hard work you did up to this point. You can't pay the bills anymore. You can't put food on the table for your family. It's all gone. So no leverage at all at a job. So you have to get into a business that you own that has residual and passive income. Now, most business owners are bigger slaves than people with a job because they have a business that owns them more so than them owning a business because there's no residual or passive income with it. So if they stop working, they don't get paid. Even though they're self-employed, they don't get paid. Nada. But now they don't have a big company behind them to back them up because it's their company and not some other big company that they're working for. So it's actually worse in some ways to have your own business the way that most people have their own business. That's why I specifically have a business that has residual and passive income. And residual and passive income is not available at a job. It just isn't. That's only a business ownership. And most business ownership doesn't even have it. So you have to combine the two. You have to combine being a business owner and residual and passive income. then you can start leveraging your time, leveraging your efforts by earning a leveraged form of money called residual and passive income. And eventually, I don't know how long it takes. It's different for everyone. It took me 2.5 years. But eventually you build it to a point in your spare time, because you're busy, I get it. But you build it to a point to where you can totally decouple your time from your paycheck. In other words, you're not in this position anymore of only being paid when you're working. You're in a position of being paid even when you're not working, which means you're free. You take control of your time, which is your life. So you take control of your life. That's all it is. And from there, it's just really learning how to do it. And so you're thinking possibly to yourself, okay, Tom, that sounds good conceptually, but I don't even have the time to build up something in my spare time. Okay, I'm glad you're at least looking at that. When I got started building mine back in 2007, so it's been quite a few years, I didn't have any time. So what I did is I got creative. This is where you have to think outside of the box, which most people are not going to do, even though they say they do, but they really don't. Just like most people say they're so different from everybody else, but they're living the same way everybody else is. It's so absurd. But just the fact you're still on this video, you're already quite a bit different. So I'm pretty sure you're going to be open to this. But I did things like I would wake up 20 minutes early. I would go to bed 20 minutes late. The odd times that I actually had a moment to do what I want, a few minutes in the day, a break or whatever, instead of doing some mind-numbing thing that I would typically have done that wasn't doing anything to set me free, I would go to work in my business. I would do more of that. So I usually found 20 minutes to a half hour a day somehow to work it. And the beautiful thing about building a residual income is that you don't need to go full-time or all in all day. You just go all in a few minutes a day, and that's enough because it's residual. You don't have to recreate everything all over again every day. Like at a job, literally every day you got to go back in and recreate the income that you earned the day prior, every week, every month, every year. So with the residual income, let's say year number 1 you made $50,000. Year number 2, you don't have to try to recreate that $50,000 again. It's already there. It's established. It's established a volume, business, and so forth. So you still go to work hardcore, and maybe the next year it's you build on that, and maybe you're at 150,000 year 2. Maybe year number 3 you're at $500,000. Year number 4 you just made your first $1 million because it was residual. And now maybe at some point during all of this, you get to decide when it feels right, you can be like, all right, this thing is taking off on its own momentum. It's big enough. It's grown with or without my personal involvement. I'm going to take a vacation. I'm going to take some time off. I'm going to do another project. I'm going to do something I've been dreaming of my whole life. Something for my family, something for a charity, something who knows what. But you can do that because you're covered anyway, and it's not paid time off. You're actually literally covered. Literally covered. So that's a pretty cool thing. But you have to get started. Even if it's just a few minutes a day, and even if, let's say your first residual check is for like $50, that is an awesome, enormous step in the right direction, and it's residual, so you may not have to try to recreate that $50 all over again. You build on top of it. So maybe your next paycheck is a couple hundred, and then your next one, I don't know, maybe it's 1,000. I don't know. You just keep building residually in whatever time that you have. But if you don't start devoting at least a few minutes a day, even if it's just a few minutes a day, to something that builds residual that you own, then you're on this hamster wheel, this never-ending pattern, this never-ending circle that never stops because you're not willing to throw a wrench in that nonsense. So the way to throw a wrench in that garbage, that life-stealing, spirit-sucking garbage, the best way to throw a wrench to that is to get into a business that you own and start building it, even if it's just a few minutes a day, and it has to be residual, and it has to eventually build into something that's passive so that you can decouple your time from being paid. That's freedom. That's how you get your time back. Most people aren't going to hear it. Most people aren't going to do it. But one of the coolest things I've ever heard in my life is you find out what most people are doing. You find out how most people think, how most people absorb or don't absorb information like this. You find out how most people are spending their time, what they're reading, what they're doing. You do the exact opposite. Run the other direction as fast as you can because you don't want what they've got. They're broke, they're unhappy, they're living paycheck to paycheck, or worse, they're a slave to the ultimate pyramid scheme known as the dollar and working for money. They're chronically diseased with usually more than one. You don't want what they got. Find out how they're spending their time, how they think. Run the opposite direction as fast as you can, and you will be unusually successful. And that is how I know for a fact that most people have clicked off right after I said the first thing and then the second thing, and by then they were gone, and there's just a few of you left. So already you're on the right path, and you've tremendously separated yourself from most people. But that's just the start. So now you got to see it through for real and really separate yourself from most people. And it's not that we're better than them. I'm not coming from a place of like that at all. I think our income is better. It's superior versus inferior because it gives us our time. It's like the difference between being a slave and being free. There's slavery income, which is job money because you only get paid when you're working. Big problem with that. That's the modern day form of slavery. And there's freedom income, which is residual and passive. That's the kind that allows you to detach and decouple your time from your money so that you can be a free human being. Take control of your time, which is your life. Control your life. That's what it's about. That is the difference between inferior and superior. Slavery is inferior. Freedom is superior. But in terms of the quality of people, people choose to go this route or that route. It's not about inferior versus superior, not at all. We just think differently than they do. So I hope that makes sense. All right, if you want to see more of my content, I love producing content like this. I've got thousands of it, and I produce it for free. I don't charge you for it because I can now, because I'm on this side of the fence. I've decoupled how I spend my time from a paycheck. It's a beautiful way to live. But my website is fireyourboss.xyz, not .com. It's a .xyz, fireyourboss.xyz. It's a beautiful domain name. I love it. And if you're still even on this video, I think you're going to like it too. Dig around, and if you have any questions or you want to talk to me about something, feel free to private message me on Facebook. That would be the best way to do it. And I'm always a fan of growing the right, healthy, rich people, no matter where you are. Bloom from where you've been planted. Be faithful with whatever you have now, and you will be given more. That's a philosophy that most people will not subscribe to, so you know that's your cue that you have to subscribe to it. It's the way that I look at it. It seems to be working pretty well now. Bye for now. I will make my next video very soon. Thanks, and please feel free to share this if you know somebody who would enjoy this. Bye for now.